Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer, and this is Shauna Faye.
Mhm.
Hello. Welcome to our sociology infomercial. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that affects millions of students across the country, which is education inequality. We're going to explore what sociology is, why it matters in the social sciences, and how our three major paradigms relate, which are functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic interaction, which will help us understand why some students get more opportunities than others. So let's get started.
All right, guys. So first, what exactly is sociology? Sociology is a scientific study of society, social interactions, and the structures that shape how we live. Sociologists look at patterns, not just individual behavior. Instead of asking, why did this one student fail? Sociology asks, what social factors make success more likely for some students and not others? Um, this allows us to see the bigger picture behind issues like education inequality. And in our slide here, oh, can you go back for me 1 second? Thank you. Sociology is a systematic study of society, social interactions, and structures that shape human behavior.
Here, we're going to be talking about why sociology matters in the social sciences. Psychology studies individual behavior. Sociology studies group behavior. Economic Economics studies wealth and resources. Sociology studies how economic inequality affects society. Political science studies government. Sociology studies how power structures impact people. Because education involves psychology, economics, politics, and community life, sociology gives us a full picture of why inequality exists. Sociology is deeply connected to all the social sciences. With education and equality, all of these fields overlap. Sociology helps us connect the dots and understand the system as a whole.
All right. So what is the education inequality? So education inequality refers to the unequal distribution of resources like funding, technology, experienced teachers, and access to advanced classes based on factors such as neighborhoods, race, class, and social status. In the US, a student's zip code often predicts the quality of education they will receive. Wealthier areas benefit from higher property taxes, while lower income communities struggle to find their schools. This creates a huge difference in graduation rates, college access, and long-term opportunities. So, if you look at that as a whole, you see that the better places have more money and then they get better access to information, right? Resources, which we can say the low income poverty areas, they don't have that. And that's why it shows a little bit that it's not equal. So that's in today's society, you know?
It's very true.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
Now we'll
Uh,
be going over the functionalist perspective, how functionalism explains education inequality. Schools serve functions, teaching skills, socializing students, transmitting culture. Inequality exists because schools prepare students for the roles society expects them to fill. Tracking systems like honor versus remedial classes sort students into future work roles. Inequality is seen as unfortunate but functional in maintaining workforce structure. So here you can see that functionalism sees society as a system where every part works together to create stability. School teach Schools teach students norms, values, skills, and prepare them for adult roles. From a functionalist view, education and equality exist because schools serve different purposes for different groups, but they can also recognize dysfunctions like overcrowded classrooms, resource gaps, which can harm the stability of society.
Yep, very true. So the next one we're going to jump into is the conflict theory perspective. So the conflict theory, which focuses on power, inequality, and competition. Conflict theorists argue that education inequality is not an accident. It's built into the system. Schools are funded by property tax, which we talked in the last one, which means wealthy neighborhoods automatically get better schools. This creates an advantage for privileged students in areas like, so in the areas, the wealthier schools, they would have AP honor classes, college prep, access to technology, smaller class sizes, experienced teachers. Meanwhile, the working class and the minority students face systemic disadvantages, right? So conflict theory emphasizes that education often reproduces social inequality instead of reducing it.
It's
So
kind of like private schools where most kids go there and their education's a bit better. It has shown that the teachers care a little more, but yet when it is public schools, it's a little different where you're not really paying for the
yeah,
education, you're just paying for
yeah.
the
I
experience.
mean, we could talk about what about like the teachers in different districts? Do they get paid more? Do they, I mean, let's a low income area. Like, you know what I mean? Would their schools be more better? The teachers, the thing is the safety. It's all nobody wants to work there and they would get the kind of like the crappy teachers. I don't want to say that because every teacher is good, but versus the wealthy neighborhoods, example like Newport Beach, Huntington Beach, pretty
Correct.
sure their schools are top game, you know?
Like the different areas.
Oh
So,
yeah. So that makes a difference. And it also talks about the property tax because that's what makes pays the school. So it depends on your property tax. So yeah. So that's
and
conflict theory.
yes, and now we'll be talking about the symbolic interaction perspective, how interactionalism explains education inequality. Teachers form expectations based on race, class, accents, clothes, or behavior. Students who are labeled gifted receive more encouragement. Students labeled slow or problematic internalize these labels. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Students rise or fall based on expectations. Over time, students internalize these labels. This is called self-fulfilling prophecy. Students perform the way teachers expect them to. Interactionalists help us understand how small moments in a classroom can create big differences in academic outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. If a student's labeled gifted, right? They automatically get the resources, they get the extra. I don't know if you guys had at your high school. Did you have Business Professionals of America?
No,
Oh, we had that. Like there were businesses, they would go and like compete in like all over the US. It was insane, but it had to be a good high school and that you could had the money to do it, you know?
not for
But
us.
then
It was just more of like if you were gifted, you would get into like the higher classes, but then those teachers would take more time with you instead of like the slow problematic labels that are listed there.
yeah, in California, you guys had like do you guys take a test in the end to pass high school?
No, I didn't.
Oh, Massachusetts did that. I remember you needed a test in the very end. But when you guys are talking about like labeled as slow or problematic, those are kind of the kids that aren't going to go to college. So they'll just put them in a certain type of class just to kind of like wing them through.
Let them be.
I know it's sad, right? If you compare to AP gifted, you know, and then I got to like just the whatever class. It's sad, but it's in today,
The
guys, you know?
reality.
Mm-hmm. All right. So real examples and data. Next, we're talk about. Let's look at a few real world examples. So many majority white suburban districts outspend majority Black and Latino districts by thousands per student. Advanced courses, art programs, and extracurricular activities are far more common in higher income schools. Schools in underfunded pro in under schools in underfunded areas, they faces higher teacher turnover and fewer opportunities. See, these aren't isolated incidents. They form a nationwide pattern of inequality. So you want to go back on that. So the white suburban neighborhoods, right? They get more money, more tax, they have more advantages. And the teachers want to work at the nice school, right? And then also the good, wealthy schools have all the sports, right? All the good sports, what do you guys call that? Varsity?
Yeah.
Varsity or yeah, all those
Varsity. I forgot what else the other one is,
the
but
varsity JV,
there you go.
like
JV is
yeah,
like
JV. Yeah,
lower.
you guys have that. Only the rich schools have that. The kind of like the low income schools don't have any of that.
No.
Like remember a while back how music, they were trying to cut music from school?
Yes.
Yes, see? Only the high-end schools could have music band practice and all that and the proper instruments. But then the lower end schools, they don't have money for band. There's no band teacher. So, the kids don't get access to music, right?
So
So
sad.
yeah, music, sports, yeah, you read up on it, it's sad. And then another one we talked about earlier was the teachers, the higher teacher turnover and fewer opportunities.
Hmm.
Teachers don't want to work in those types of places.
Oh no.
That's the truth to it. But oh, and there's another thing. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but teachers that work in what's the word? Under advantage or under it's kind of like the low income schools. Like
Hmm.
if you work in disadvantaged, no, disadvantaged schools. If the teacher works at a disadvantaged school for a certain amount of years, they knock out their school loans.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
I've
that's
heard
how
of
they
that.
get the teacher. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Yeah.
After the teachers are done working there and then they fulfill their contract, their $100,000 school is like wiped out. Yeah. The reason why I know this because I spoke to a couple student teachers at Cal Baptist and they
Hmm.
told me that's why. They're like when they graduate, they'll go into a lower division school and then they'll
Hmm.
teach there for a certain amount of years and then they get their
That's how they
things
do
wiped
it.
out. So
No.
yeah. So that's real life data and examples.
Why it matters for society. Education impacts income, health, crime rates, and social mobility. Inequality reinforces the cycle of poverty.
Mhm.
Society benefits when all students have equal opportunities. So here, education shapes everything: income, employment, health opportunities, and even future generations. When some students receive high quality education and others don't, inequality becomes a cycle that repeats. So sociology helps us see how the cycle is created and, more importantly, how it can be changed. When all students have access to excellent education, society becomes stronger, more productive, and more fair. I mean, there's a lot of studies for that.
Oh
So
yeah.
makes
It's
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Think about it. If you had a better education, right? Better education, better resource in life, better jobs. It kind of leads like the first ball, like gets the ball rolling, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's really sad, but it just the education, income, health, and mobility,
Mhm.
gets it all going. All right. So in conclusion, um, so to wrap everything up. Sociology allows us to see education not as an individual issue, but as a social structure that impacts millions. Functionalism shows how education maintains society. Conflict theory exposes how inequality is built into the system. And symbolic interaction helps us understand how teachers' expectations shape students' outcome. So, by looking at education inequality through these paradigms, we gain a deeper understanding of how society works and how we can improve it. So, um,
There are references.
mhm.
So thank you so much for watching our infomercial. I hope
Thank you.
this helped you see education through a new lens. If this
Yep.
topic inspires you, I encourage you all to keep exploring how sociology reveals the hidden structures that shape our lives. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Mhm.